Testimony resumes today in the criminal fraud trial of Sam Bankman-Fried. The prosecution and defense laid out their opening statements yesterday. The former CEO of crypto exchange FTX is accused of stealing billions of dollars from customers for his own personal use. He pleaded not guilty back in March. So CBS News legal contributor Rebecca Roife is following the case for us. She's joining us now. So let's lay out sort of the prosecution and the defense argument, because I don't think they differ so much on what happened with the money, just, the reasons why it turned out this way.
Right, that's exactly right. So the prosecution is painting a picture of a corrupt individual who essentially stole money, embezzled from his own company, and stole customers' monies after luring them in with a kind of sexy, savvy ad campaign. And the defense is countering that this is a risky business and that the Sam Bankman-Fried, who is the defendant here, was certainly engaged in that kind of risky behavior, but he himself did nothing more than perhaps not manage risk properly.
So two witnesses took to the stand yesterday. What did they say?
Right. So the two witnesses were setting up the prosecution's argument. The first one, Marc-Antoine Julliard, was a customer who said that he was lured in by those fancy ads and that he thought that his money would be safe with FTX and had no idea that it was, in fact, transferring the money to Alameda Research. And the second witness here, Adam Yedida, was a college roommate of Sam Bankman-Fried who worked intermittently with the company and said that he resigned right when he found out that money was being moved to this hedge fund that was controlled by Sam Bankman-Fried. So that's both parts of the argument. One, that customers were duped, and two, that there were people inside the company who knew exactly what was going on.
You talk about sort of those slick ads. A lot of celebrities are now being sued because they were paid endorsements for FTX, including Tom Brady, some really big names.
Yeah, big names.
He was able to pay. Yesterday on CBS News Primetime, John Dickerson spoke to Michael Lewis, who wrote a book about Bankman-Fried. The book is out now. Here's some of what he had to say.
So I spent that part of a year with him and with his organization, interviewing around him, interviewing his investors, all that. He seemed like walking social satire, that he'd gone from zero to $22.5 billion in net worth in like 18 months. No one knew who he was. The whole world was configuring itself around this new pile of money. He's got this very mathy, quantitative, unemotional way of, he's a Martian, going into these places and trying to figure them out.
I was just reading an article about Bankman-Fried meeting Anna Wintour via Zoom, and he kind of vaguely has an idea of who she is. And as they're having this Zoom conversation, he flips over and starts playing a video game as he's talking to her, right? Which I thought, like, this is exactly what leads to the comment that Michael Lewis just said. Can you just remind our audience, in his heyday, when things were good, when he was a golden boy, what his role was like in politics and philanthropy?
Yeah, so often these figures in these prominent white-collar crime cases are portrayed as greedy, and in a way that isn't exactly Sam Bankman-Fried. As Michael Lewis was saying, he's a different kind of character, and he was deeply involved in politics. It was about power for him, for sure, and he gave, I think, over $70 million in around 18 months to different political campaigns. So obviously was, giving this money away. And more importantly, he was part of this movement, effective altruism, where his plan was to make a lot of money and give it to charity. So it was, less about, certainly some putting money in his pocket, but more about, gaining power and prestige through these various different ways of exerting his influence in the world.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Rebecca Roife, as always, we thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks.